The summer of 1983, I rented a cabin in Vermont. No electricity, no phone. Just me and the silence, and a stack of notebooks I'd filled with questions. I'd been seeking for 12 years by then. Tried everything. Zen Buddhism, transcendental meditation, ESD, therapy, breathwork, fasting. I once spent 4 days staring at a white wall because a book told me to. Nothing worked. Or everything worked briefly before the old feeling returned. That ache. That sense of something missing. Like a word on the tip of your tongue that never quite arrives. Thomas came to visit on the 3rd week. He brought groceries and a bottle of wine and that look he always had. Amused, curious, slightly concerned. "You look terrible," he said. "I'm close," I told him. "I can feel it. Something is about to break through." He poured the wine. We sat on the porch. The sun was setting, painting everything gold and amber. "What happens?" Thomas asked, swirling his glass. "When you break through." I didn't understand the question. "What do you mean?" "Well," he said. "You break through, you find it, then what? What do you do the next morning? Make coffee, pay taxes, call your mother." I remember feeling annoyed. "That's not the point, Thomas." "What is the point?" "To be free," I said. "To be done with the seeking, to rest." He looked at me for a long moment. Then he looked at the sunset. He didn't say anything else. That was Thomas. He'd plant a seed and walk away. Let it grow in its own time. 3 days after he left, it happened. I was sitting on that same porch. Not meditating. Just sitting. The question Thomas asked was still with me, turning over in my mind like a smooth stone. What happens when you break through? And suddenly, or not suddenly at all, I still don't know. Something shifted. The question dissolved. Not answered, dissolved. Like sugar in hot water. There was no one asking anymore. There was just this. The porch, the trees, the sound of birds. No separation between the seeing and the seen. I wept. For hours. Not from sadness, from relief. The search was over. I had found it, or it had found me. Or there was never any separation to begin with. I called Thomas that night. Collect call from the general store 3 miles down the road. Thomas, I said, barely able to speak. It happened, I broke through. There was silence on the line. Then he said very quietly, "Who broke through?" I laughed. Of course he would ask that. Nobody, I said. Nobody broke through. Good, he said. And I could hear him smiling. Now forget about it. I didn't forget about it. I wrote a book about it. Then another. I started teaching. Workshops at first, then retreats, then teacher trainings. I became someone who had found it. Someone who could help others find it too. And the beautiful thing. The terrible thing. It worked. I was good at it. People had experiences in my workshops. They wrote me letters, thanked me for changing their lives. I got invited to conferences, published in journals, built a whole career on that afternoon in Vermont. And Thomas just kept asking questions. We drifted apart. Not dramatically, just gradually. I was busy. He was, Thomas. He never taught anything, never wrote anything. Worked as a carpenter, raised his kids, made beautiful furniture. Sometimes after a big retreat, I'd call him. Tell him about the breakthroughs, the tears, the laughter, the liberation. He'd listen. Then he'd say something like, "What happens when the retreat ends?" Or, "Do you still need to be someone who found it?" I always had answers. Good ones, eloquent ones. That's what I did, I answered questions. But at night, his questions would return. Circling like birds that couldn't find a place to land.